So the Fed raised interest rates again, huh? It's okay. I'm going to tell you as a first-time home buyer how to overcome these rate hikes so you can buy your first home. Welcome to the Homeowner Prep podcast, where every week we educate and encourage aspiring homeowners to help them buy their first home faster. If you aspire to own a home, you're in the right place, so enjoy. Do us a favor and leave a review, a rating, and be sure to subscribe. Now let's get to this week's episode. Hey, real quick before we start, I want to ask you a question. How long are you going to wait before you decide to get started? I mean, you want to buy a house and you're earning income, so what's holding you back? Visit our website at homeownerprep.com/start. You can take an online assessment and set up a free 30-minute call, and we're going to put a plan together to help you get from where you are to where you truly want to be. So don't let fear hold you back from buying your first home. All right, now back to the episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Homeowner Prep podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. We are going to talk about what's going on in the news today. All the headlines, all the doom and gloom is all focused on the interest rates being raised every single month, it seems like. So we're going to talk about this and really kind of dive into how this impacts you as a first-time home buyer so that you're not scared and that you can make an actionable plan to move forward with buying your first home. You know, one of the biggest things about the headlines being so doom and gloom is that a lot of first-time home buyers are kind of stuck and afraid of their own shadow, if you would. They don't know what to do because they don't know what to expect. And really what you need first and foremost is some guidance. Guidance from somebody who's been through it, seen it all, been through it all, and working with professionals who can help you kind of navigate the path forward so that you can make sure that you're ready as a first-time home buyer. You know, as interest rates rise, it doesn't necessarily mean that mortgage rates have to rise, although over the past few months, we have been seeing them go hand in hand. So what we're seeing is that as interest rates are, going through this inflation battle, if you would, the Federal Reserve is having to raise interest rates typically about 0.75% in order to try to combat inflation. But what is it really doing? As their only line of defense, as the only thing that they can really do to try to combat inflation is really not having an impact. What we're seeing is that inflation is still above 8%. In fact, inflation only dropped like 0.2% from the last hike that took place. So, chances are we're going to be in this rhythm and in this cycle for some time. So as a first-time home buyer, what should you do? Well, the first thing you should do is realize that even if rates go up, how does it impact your budget? If the interest rates rise, does it impact your budget in such a way that you can no longer afford to buy a home? Or is it that you have to buy a smaller home? Or is it that you need to get a better deal on a home, right? So when it comes to, deciding on how you're going to move forward as a first-time home buyer, I'm here to let you know that right now is actually one of the best times to buy in the last couple of years. What we saw in 2020 and 2021 was that there were so many buyers looking to buy that they were throwing in offers that were well above asking price. And the fact of you even getting your offer accepted was like winning the lottery, And not only that, but you oftentimes had to pay well above asking price as a difference between your loan and your purchase price. So you had to have some cash on hand. Now, I don't know about you, but most first-time home buyers don't have an extra $50,000, $60,000, $75,000 sitting around, especially if you're using some down payment assistance. And so it was very, very difficult for first-time home buyers to get their offers accepted, especially if they were using a down payment assistance program. And so it was nearly impossible over the last couple of years for you to buy a home as a first-time home buyer. And now things have drastically changed. In fact, as we talk about interest rates, we often have to discuss, what are ways to overcome the rise in these interest rates? Because now sellers are more likely and motivated to pitch in and help you with your interest rate. That's right. A seller can actually help you pay down your interest rate. Now, how does a seller help you pay down that interest rate. One of the things they can do is offer to give seller concession so that way you can take advantage of different loan programs that are out there. There's a loan program right now that a lot of buyers are using, which is a 2-1 buy down. And we've talked about this in previous episodes, but a 2-1 buy down means that, hey, you're qualifying on today's rate, but for the first 2 years, you're going to have a lower interest rate than what the current rates are today. And there is a cost associated to get you into that loan. The seller can actually pay in concessions what that cost would be, and that way you're not paying out of pocket. So you can lower your interest rate. Let's say you can lower your rate 2 points. Well, instead of paying 7.8%, now you're at 5.8%. So you can see the big difference in savings just by taking advantage of that program. So that's the biggest thing that I do want to point out, is that sellers are motivated to help you get into a home and make your offer on their home. Typically, when you're in the situation where you're worried about interest rates, you need to recognize the full cost of buying a home. Not only do you have, your interest rate, but you have your down payment requirements, which are typically 3.5% for first-time home buyers on FHA, and then you have closing costs as well. And then if you are in escrow and say the home needs repairs done, there may be some additional costs there that a seller doesn't necessarily have to pay for. So the total cost of you buying a home can add up quickly. That's why I say now is one of the better times to buy, because a seller is more likely to give you those concessions to pay down for your loan. They're going to give you some credits to pay for those repairs, because chances are if a seller is listing in this market, in today's market, they really have to sell. You're not seeing a lot of sellers out there that are just testing the market and just trying to get top dollar for their house like we saw in 2020 and 2021. So it is a great time to buy. When it comes to interest rates, I can tell you this. Right now, if you're renting, you're paying 100%. If you're borrowing on credit cards or anything like that, like we're seeing the high spike in, you're paying 22% on average. So yes, interest rates are a lot higher than they were. There's no denying that. The 2 and 3% interest rates are gone, and chances are they're not coming back. So what are you going to do? Are you going to continue to pay high rents at 100%? Are you continue to borrow on credit cards that are 22%? Are you going to get into a home at 7 to 8% and take advantage of the fact that you can actually buy your own place, get the appreciation over time, and when rates change, you can always refinance to a lower rate? So you have to make an overall decision as to how you're going to take the news, the doom and gloom headlines, and how you're going to move forward. One thing I can tell you for sure is that you cannot just sit still. If you're sitting still and not sure what to do, you're going to be priced out of the market. And what a lot of buyers don't realize is that as they sit on the sidelines waiting for interest rates to come back down, you have to realize there's a lot of other buyers sitting on the sideline waiting for the same thing. So we are going to see the high competition come back. There's still a shortage of housing, especially in California. And so you're going to see competition come back as rates go down. So is it the best time to buy? Maybe not. But is it a better time to buy now than it's going to be in the near future? It definitely is. Again, the Federal Reserve is using all they can to try to combat inflation. It's not having much of an impact, so they are going to continue to raise rates, and you need to take advantage of where rates are today versus where they're going to be next month and the next few months. So if you have questions about, where your rate is in your particular situation based on your credit, based on your debt to income ratios and things of that nature, feel free to reach out to us. We can put you in touch with a lender that's going to help you see exactly where you're at and make a much smarter decision based on real information. And if you're just looking to get started, not sure where you're at and where, what the next steps are for you, you can always visit our website at homeownerprep.com/start. And again, you can start there. You can start with just maybe downloading an ebook to see, hey, how does a home process work? You can actually start the process of seeing if you qualify by filling out an online form. Or like I said, we can connect you with a lender or real estate agent in your area to help you buy. So I really hope that you take advantage of where the market is today, knowing where it's going in the future, and just getting in the game so that the appreciation can work in your favor and not against you. If you have any direct questions and just want to reach out to us, you can reach us on social media. You can find us on all social media platforms. We get most of our questions at Instagram, so we're at Homeowner Prep on Instagram. So feel free, if you just have a direct question that you need answered, feel free to reach out to us. I hope you got some great value from today. I hope you don't freeze in fear, but decide to really take action so you can move forward as a first-time home buyer. If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. And until the next episode, have a blessed day. If you've enjoyed this show and got some great value from it, please be sure to rate and review. And if you're checking it out on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe. That really does help us to continue the show and bring in some great guests to help you on your home buying journey.